implementing people-centered tools as part of the Hamburg's modular digital twin. So I think what is important to understand what we do and how we work at the City Science Lab is that we talk about the modular approach. I think it fits very well to and connects very well to what you were saying before. So in the Connected Urban Twins project, we have this wonderful Rubik's Cube that was talked about yesterday as well, that represents the complete digital resources of a city. And we don't believe that there's one, as our previous presenter said as well, we don't believe that there's one all-entailing digital twin for everything. We believe that there are topical digital twins. And these building blocks you can combine to create a digital twin that fits your need, that doesn't necessarily need 3D data, it doesn't necessarily need sensor data, but you can, the important bits are actually these white lines in between, because these blocks have to be interoperable to enable this combination of these digital resources. So it's all about open APIs, open standards to create reusable and topical digital twins. So this is what we've worked on in the CUT project, not us. And this has also found its way into a DIN specification, more or less, but this is a German industry norm that creates, I think, with this a reality that not only we are thinking of digital twins in this way, but also hopefully proprietary digital twin providers, if they want to play a relevant role in the German market, should adapt these kind of open standards and at least a connectivity within their closed system to a certain extent. So we work on some of these building blocks at the City Science Lab that can then be combined in different topical digital twins and reused in that way. So, of course, we also have a 3D model, and I just wanted to point this out, not to brag or whatever. We have a 3D model, we have sensor data, and we have tools that are built on that, and we can add on to these tools with the different modules that we make. And how we do this? Oh, you have a microphone, huh?
I have a microphone.
Yeah, how we do this? I'll hand over to Michael quickly, and after that we'll present what we actually worked on and what are these modules.
Yeah, thank you, Till. So in our research within the CUT project, we are following a transformative research approach. We can say a lot about that, but basically it means that we are not just observating ongoing processes from a distance level. We try to intervene and foster those processes. So in the concrete case here in Hamburg, we try to foster the sustainable transformation of the city with digital twins. And we try to use this very practice-oriented process to gain transformation knowledge. That means we try to answer the question, how can we foster sustainability with the help of urban digital twins? And we understand the city of Hamburg as our real-world experiments. That is the spatial and temporal framework to conduct or to carry out real-world experiments, so experiments. And we understand this research subject, or you can understand it as an interplay between these A, B, and C domains, which is on the one hand the urban digital twins and digital tools, or should I say digital models as parts of the urban digital twin, urban planning and smart city governance, and the urban fabric and its development. And this is where we intervene with our prototypes. And within the CUT project, we carried out 5 real-world experiments. 4 and 3 are still ongoing. And I really can confirm that use cases are extremely important to implement or to test digital innovation together with stakeholders. Our first use case, it was about unpaid care workers and their mobility patterns in the city. The second was about the conflicting interests between energy efficient building refurbishment and gentrification effects. And now the third one is about unsoiling or unsealing the soil or to depave the ground. And yeah, just to give you some insights, how our experiments look like. Basically, it means that we prototype digital tools, we test them together with stakeholders. Here you see affected people from different communities, vulnerable communities, and then we promote the implementation of these prototypes as parts of the emergent digital twin here in Hamburg. This is our research approach.
Yes, and we now want to quickly look into two of the tools that we've developed. So very much, I mean, we're all more or less experts. We understand data, we understand maps when we look at them, but very often these are very complex. They're very complex for many other people who are not having maps in front of their faces the whole time. So I think if you arrange, sort, and explain data with a story, it's much more comprehensible. And we developed this, we developed a storytelling tool that is then one of these building blocks. So we had a use case in one of these real-world experiments, but basically the idea is this can be used in the city of Hamburg for the topical twins, being it in this case explaining unpaid care worker mobility, being it as it is already used in the city of Hamburg for citizen participation, explaining the context, or various other context tools in general. So this is what we will develop it further also. We are putting up a platform, lots of nice tests. Sorry for that. So we're building a platform where actually civil society, citizens, or the administration can create their own stories. 3 minutes left. And we also had a data collection tool. I think this was mentioned a couple of times, that a lot of citizen data is lacking, and there's lots of data gaps in digital twins, especially on the topic of urban mobility, where the data that's there is very often car-based and is very often, I don't know, for commuters or standard classic mobility patterns. We try to gather data together with citizens about the topic of unpaid care work mobilities, so a lot more complex mobility patterns. I bring my child to the kindergarten in the morning, then I go shopping, then I go to my job, then I take care of my elderly mother, and I use different modes of mobility, and that's a lot more complex and usually not represented. This tool we did not, our expectation was not to fill completely this data gap, but to also have this as an add-on, as a tool, and as a way of gathering data in context of the Hamburg's urban digital twins. So what are the transformative impacts that we have had? So the data narrator, as I said, is implemented in the digital participation system in Hamburg, which we're very fortunate to have that. I think it's very important that this has been achieved also through the very good collaboration with the city of Hamburg. The data collector started the process, so the Senate is still deciding on how this is carried out, but it started a process of the Senate or the city administration thinking about how can we gather mobility patterns with citizens to create a routing tool for people with disabilities. You do the last part?
Yeah, okay. No worries. Yeah, and the transformative potential we see in these impacts is that citizen data now step by step might become a means of urban planning by the administration, that this might contribute in the case of the unpaid care workers and the routing tool to more inclusive and walkable cities, and with the deeper stories, the data narrator, we might reach a better communication of complexity in urban planning and development, and might improve participation. 3 question marks behind that, because we see the potential, we don't know, research is ongoing. Thanks for your attention.